And after he sailed through the quad steps, he was ready to face our dragon-themed flywheels. Oh, no!
Take a look at this again. Wow! Got smacked right in the face. Wow!
Alan Keneally goes even further back. He first competed 14 years ago on Season 3, and for years he was a top competitor. Look at that! 44-year-old chiropractor from the Bay Area made the adjustments for the first obstacle.
Come on, big fella.
But the veteran made a rookie mistake on the second. Oh! He rushed it, and Keneally became another victim of this obstacle.
We are going old school this season, and no one is more old school than the Godfather, David Campbell. He is the only athlete to compete in every Ninja Warrior season.
So much is expected of David Campbell. David Campbell. David Campbell. Godfather.
What a storied career.
The Godfather is now an actual father. I've competed 16 seasons as a single man.
Nice!
And now I'm married with a son, and yeah, it's very different now. Instead of spending all my time training on my obstacle course, I'm now staying home, cooking food, changing diapers, feeding bottles, warming milk, and very demanding, but it's worth it. All us OG ninjas, our biggest fantasy is if we could teleport back to like Season 3. This season's a little bit like that. You know, we're getting to try obstacles that we haven't seen in a while, but it's going to be fun seeing how fast we can go.
And baby Luke is watching back in Santa Cruz with David's wife Claire and Claire's sister Jennifer.
That baby looks just like him.
Hey, Lukey, hey, come back. Let me crush it. Let's go, David!
If Luke's not enough, Campbell's also got his buddies Brian Kretsch and Sean Bryan cheering for him. How amazing that he's still out here competing with some of these kids who weren't even born when he first hit the course.
Well, we're impressed, but I don't know if baby Luke is. He's already crying.
Don't cry for Daddy Luke. He knows what he's doing. Campbell has seen so many changes in this sport over the years. I don't know that this show is where it is without David Campbell. This was the guy who had that first backyard gym. He's been so impressive. His passion, competed in every season. He's got more buzz than anyone else competing with 25 in his career. But he looks still fine. He misses He does a good job on the course. He's 16 seasons, has 12 qualifying puzzles, but he didn't win the last 2 years. He's got the next right now. He's going back to the left and touch him both stars. He's going to What grit! What determination! Can he get the dismount? Oh! Yes! 47 years old! Well, this will be history. It is 13th qualifying buzzer. The Godfather. David, you've had so many incredible moments, but what's it like getting your first buzzer with your son watching?
You know, having a son, it actually takes a lot of pressure off because nothing else in your life matters as much as him. And so it just kind of turns the volume down the rest of your life.
17 years, that's a big deal, man. You deserve it. Hit that buzzer one more time, man.
David Campbell. David Campbell continues to impress us at Ninja Warrior. And before we go to break, we want to take a moment to honor one of David's training partners who was invited to compete this season, but tragically passed away in a climbing accident, Vincent Payne.
Vincent was a chemistry professor at Stanford, but also an artist, a sculptor, a dancer. And he always made you smile. He was an amazing athlete. And of course, an incredible human being off the course. Vincent Payne, gone too soon.
We will remember his artistry and his passion. He will always be a part of the family of Ninja Warrior. Welcome back. We're about halfway through our special How to Train Your Dragon edition of American Ninja Warrior.
And dragons aren't the only thing flying through the course tonight. Ninja veteran Lauren Ball had some fun with the dragons at the start line. And this 37-year-old always has fun on the course. He was a breakdancing b-boy in his early years.
There it is.
Ball competed on the very first season of Ninja. And he showed some veteran savvy when he fell on the log run.
Oh, no! Watch those feet.
He didn't panic, and he managed to get through it.
Lauren Ball, what a save.
With his signature backward tag, the 37-year-old turned back the clock and got his first qualifying buzzer in 5 years.
You was balling.
I love the hats, guys.
You got any moves now that you got a buzzer after that incredible save, brother? Woo!
Another veteran, Donovan Matoyer, was celebrating his 10th season on Ninja Warrior. And as usual, he did it in style.
He's feeling it, Akbar. He's linking him.
The classy ninja, who always wears a suit, was looking good as he breezed his way through all 6 obstacles with the fastest time of the night so far.
Donovan Matoyer. We got something special for the classy ninja.
We got a little gift for you. You ready? That's for your 10-year anniversary, man. It's a tie clip. We just want to let you know we appreciate you.
Donovan always classes up the course, but number 3 in our costume countdown was known for his casual attire.
Okay.
It's Chad Flexington. With a headband wrapped around his spectacular mullet and his red, white, and blue bottoms, Flexington was the alter ego of agricultural researcher Ben Udy, who transformed himself into the brash, flag-waving, trash-talking competitor in seasons 11 and 13. Character. Chad Flexington's number 3 on our costume countdown. Well, we got some colorful outfits coming to the course right now. If you've got kids, they know this group. Flipping their way across the start line, it's Utah's Myler family, better known as the Ninja Kids. They have a huge following on YouTube. You can see why.
I'm Maxon. I did the kids. I got the martial arts studio, so that's what I'm talking about. We just have to use our martial skills to make Ninja TV. 2017, that was the very first episode. That video, 1 million views, like, how? We got to get that one. We just have a realization, like, man, this is an opportunity we can make an impact with this. We have all around the world making videos. We have all our channels. We have over 40 million subscribers. Becoming famous has been crazy. I never expected it. We've been all over the world saying we start gymnastics, martial arts video, and that's really just awesome because that's proving straight. We want to see people grow. You have to do stuff. All my siblings are really competitive. In the past, I was probably one of the most, my siblings are catching up really fast. Hey, what are the kids? We do training every single day, multiple times a day. I'm so excited to keep my siblings. I hope they make it super far. So excited to do it.
18-year-old action. Second purple on first. Really season. 40 million subscribers, billions of views. So they need to get it. Show me the Ninja Warriors star. We're doing content. Here you go. Ashton Myler, we're going to cut down this Ninja course. Chicken right on is a Ninja. Watch now. That's Ninja. Wow. Now it's inside. He's looking. Wow. 2 minutes close. The Ninja kid continue to shut down these obstacles. What happened is one far. Fair skills. Here we go. You can see the earth pressure down first. Sneak keep up the Ninja man. He's a level 9 gymnast. Afford to be wiped out the fight tonight. He's going to the YouTube success. Even he's success. Is there anything you can do? Well, listen, guys, billions of views. We're going to get billions more. We never know when that's happening. Just get another connection. History is jacked. What did I do? Like Ashton Myler.
Education Day. Måste vi engagerar oss i andra people in världen. Det måste vi engagerar oss. När vi gör det, vad kan jag skapa med att vi ska ju också det. Det har vi något att göra med det. Education Day.
He's a two-time last sitting. I consider him the this year. Any left contact. Us, we're going to the best competitors. Who's going to be number 1? It's all just ahead. American Ninja Warrior. Minutes ago, Ashton Myler, one of the YouTube sensation Ninja Kids, finished the course. And while we were away, his brother Paxton got his chance and showed off his martial arts skills at the start.
Don't poke anybody's eye out.
The 16-year-old is a second-degree black belt and kicked it up a notch on the course.
So he knows how to fight through.
He followed in his brother's footsteps.
Ninja Kid on the Ferris wheel. Come on. It doesn't get any better than this.
And posted another buzzer for the Myler family.
This is going to go forward.
Then it was another rookie, Colt Elder, a chicken farmer who powers up by eating eggs, or as he calls them, Ninja Nuggets.
Ninja Nuggets, was that what the shell?
Whatever it was, it worked.
Oh, come on. Come on. Matt, he looks so fluid.
As the 16-year-old from Virginia flew through the course.
Matt, not one of these obstacles looks like it's going to ruffle his feathers.
His whole town was watching as Colt the Bolt put up the fastest finish of the night and nearly missed out on a shot at the mega wall.
These Ninja Nuggets, they look like it worked.
They were good.
All right. Pretty good. There it is. Our next competitor's more at home with moose than chickens. From Unalakleet, Alaska, it's Ninja veteran Nick Hansen. It's been 10 years since we first met Nick back in Season 7, and we watched him get married to his wife Joanne and have a son, Christopher. His buddy Forrest Strick ran earlier, Forrest on the sideline, along with the Island Ninja, Grant McCartney. Nick's now 35 years old.
Ooh, big bounce.
Looking smooth.
Yeah, this guy is such a great ambassador for Alaska. You know, I even took my family up to Anchorage to visit him. I finally made it to Alaska.
I see you, baby. I see you.
Yeah, we went on a beautiful hike, and he even got us to try some yak burgers.
He is one proud Alaskan, travels all over the state, spreading the word on Ninja and the world.
Nick Hansen's in trouble. He's had a lot of iceberg training in some really extreme conditions. This is an extreme position to be in.
Well, we've seen people get here before. You do have to go back to the previous log to try to prop your body.
You see, this is where doing the core workout works. He's trying to swing, but he's trying to also keep his legs from not hitting the water.
You got it. Go that swing. Go that swing. Try to throw it over top. Anything is good.
Oh, nice. Come on. See, this is what it means to be a ninja. This is the ninja mentality. Problem solving on the fly.
Ooh. Now, this is taxing that core, and you can just see you have to propel yourself up.
You can see it's not stable. Come on.
Here we go.
Ain't no log jam here for Nick Hansen. He's really trying to contemplate how to fly. How does one fly? That's what I'm talking about.
It looked like a seal jumping onto an ice floe. It wasn't pretty, but he's still alive. Well, that's an amazing save, but Akbar, with all that energy sack, will he have anything to survive spin cycle, let alone Ferris wheel?
This is when you gotta ignore pain. This is when you gotta ignore the body.
Another extra swing.
The body doesn't mind if the mind doesn't matter. Nice.
His whole body has to be exhausted. Power it with those hips. Don't even think about it, just launch it. Ooh, got it.
I'm personally rooting for him like I always do.
Lower, that means he has to keep his legs up and he requires more moves.
He's got to turn it more. Get a lot more turns here. Ooh, come on, man. A few more moves. Check out the left hand, the left hand. He's so close.
He's just trying to find a little room. Now he's got to reach it.
You come too far now. You're already at the end of the Ferris wheel. I just don't know.
What a fight, but in the end just couldn't get past Ferris wheel.
Yeah, man, he went from ninja to fight club.
His foot slipped and he took a log to his stomach. Ooh. He fought his way back on top and just launched himself over to the pad. He had nothing left for Ferris wheel, but what a gritty run out of Nick Hansen.
That was so far. Oh my gosh, how do I even get back to it?
I'm just scratching that part. You just talk about it. Log running, that is insane. I need an oxygen mask. Like the way we were holding our breath. What happened?
Oh my gosh, I missed my first step, really. All we could do at that point was fall and save it. I was like, this is doable. I know it's doable. Let me just try and see if I can get it. It was just a confidence in my legs to be able to make that move, and I just stepped up and got it. It was awesome.
Obviously took a lot of steam, a lot of gas out of you to make that happen. So talk to me about what happened by the time you got to this obstacle.
I mean, I was just tired. That was all I had left, so.
What you had left was plenty impressive. Let's hear it for one more time, y'all. We'll listen to you in front of the
Thank you. We'll see.
Guys, back to you.
Again, oh my gosh.
Well, that was quite an adventure. Now time to move on to our next athlete, Colorado's Kaden Ledsack. And he's one of the favorites to win it all. He was the last ninja standing his first 2 seasons on the show and holds a record for most consecutive obstacles completed. He conquered 99 before he fell. And he's got an interesting cheering section. His parents and training partners are here. But still is an alien who came down from his UFO to show support.
Wow, that's a first.
And that's not all. Back in Colorado, Bigfoot is watching with some friends. This kid's got fans all over the universe.
In different galaxies, everything, huh?
Caden's a fan of conspiracy theories and the paranormal, so having some fun. I know Dragon's fit into that category, but he's attacking our How to Train Your Dragon obstacle, and we expect this guy to go fast.
Be interesting to see if he's going for the fastest time of the night.
Just floats over log runners, so easy. Only halfway through spin cycle.
Big moves.
Wow. He could be called out for the fastest time, and he's got a shot at the mega wall, which he's never conquered in his storied career.
And there's no pause in his game. He's just moving. Now a little hiccup here on Ferris wheel.
He actually went back, so he went higher for the second wheel. So now it's a one move over, and he's going up top.
Yeah, he's taking the high road.
It's going to be close to that.
And he was in no danger of being
Oh, my. Kaden Ledsack just misses out on the mega wall in the fastest time. Well, Bigfoot can attest Kaden Ledsack is for real. Kaden, unbelievable job. You were moving fast, but just like 2 seconds, you missed a shot at the mega wall, my man.
that close.
Go celebrate with your friends, buddy. Well, speed is going to be especially important this season. The rest of the field better watch out for Kaden Ledsack. Coming up, Sandy Zimmerman made history. Yes! The first buzzer ever to hit a buzzer! Now, at 48, she's still got the fire for Ninja. Her run's coming up on American Ninja Warrior. Welcome back to Las Vegas. Marquise Leonard was all smiles as he waved to his family at the start line. The 37-year-old father of 2 is a concrete worker from Corona, California.
This is his 3rd season competing on Ninja Warrior, Matt.
Oh! And he hit a brick wall on the first obstacle. Wow! 17-year-old pilot Capo has made it to the semifinals each of the past 2 seasons. But the Utah high schooler has never made it past the 5th obstacle.
Oh, hold on.
Oh! Okay! Wow! But Ultraviolet did it tonight. Does she fail in her 3 attempts at the warp wall? Go, 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 go! Oh! She's still guaranteed a spot in the women's top 5, so she's moving on to the semifinals. Well, now it's another one of our impressive women competitors, Colorado's Annabella Heinrichs. She's a hairstylist, but also a scuba diver, and she's just as fearless in the water as she is on a ninja course.
I scuba dive and I snorkel, and I love going on these trips with my family. Recently, we've gone to Florida to swim with some sharks, like bull sharks, lemon sharks, silky sharks, and sandbar sharks, 6, 7, 8 feet long, like big sharks. These apex predators circling around you. You have to respect their space. You just have to trust them, and they have to trust you. It's humbling, and it's incredible to be there. As much as I love being underwater, I am not going in the water tonight. I'm gonna be a shark on the course.
Well, I'm a Patty certified scuba diver too, but I don't do sharks.
Not only did the Heinrichs dive together, they also trained ninja together and competed on our family championship a few years ago. Annabella Heinrichs started this season with a lot of confidence, made it to the national finals last year.
She seems to get stronger every season.
Well, we know she's not afraid of sharks, so I doubt she'll be scared of our How to Train Your Dragon obstacle.
All right, at 5'5", she's got to generate a lot of swing to get up to that last wheel.
Women are off to a great start this season. Jessie Graff got a buzzer last week. Megan Well got one earlier tonight. But this log runner always dangerous. We saw buddy Nate Hansen fall here earlier. Let's see if Heinrichs can handle log runner. Excellent balance out of Annabella Heinrichs. And she's fired up. She's had some solid runs, has never had a buzzer.
Oh, looking to change that tonight.
We can see really getting some good mobility, launching at those hooks to get that power, and here she is. And she's reached the 5th obstacle, Ferris wheel.
It'll be interesting to see if she's going to take the up route or the down route here on Ferris wheel.
Looks like she's taking the high road. Over the top for Annabella Heinrichs.
Nice. Yeah, she's got a nice and easy pace going.
Well, she's got a little rock climbing, and that is serving her well.
Great grip strength. Heinrichs' maneuver has been outstanding so far.
At least 5 women from tonight will move on. Heinrichs putting herself in good position to be one of them. Here comes another little fall. Locked in. Annabella Heinrichs. Are you kidding me?
Get that work wall. Get that work wall.
Going for the first buzzer of her career. 14.5 feet away from her first buzzer. The second buzzer of the night for the women. What a performance, Annabella.
Now tell everybody out there, what does that red buzzer feel like for the first time?
It feels so good.
Oh, yes. Well, hit it one more time. Go down and celebrate with your friends and family.
That's so cool.
Annabella Heinrichs. You just keep working hard. You don't give up, and it's amazing what you can accomplish. Annabelle spends a lot of time in the water, and so does number 2 on our countdown of best costumes, the Mermaid.
This is my kind of place.
Created by influencer Charity LeBlanc, she adopted the mermaid persona for her huge social media following and brought the turquoise tail and shimmery swimsuit to Ninja when she competed on seasons 10, 11, and 13, though she did take the tail off for her runs. The Mermaid is number 2 on our best costumes countdown. Coming up, she's watched her dad, her mom, and her 2 brothers compete. Now, Bailey Beckstrand is ready for her shot at Ninja Stardom. We'll see her debut next on American Ninja Warrior. It's How to Train Your Dragon Knight on American Ninja Warrior. And one ninja looked like a beast minutes ago. Xavier Ochoa did handstand push-ups at the start.
He's showing some good upper body strength there.
And then he went super aggressive on the course.
That's like an NFL running back right there.
The 20-year-old from Southern California sprinted all the way to the 5th obstacle.
He is running this course with authority. He means business.
But the fast pace may have caught up to him. Oh! But he's guaranteed a spot in the semifinals. Heading the course was a full circle moment for 17-year-old ninja superfan Tyler Rizzo. Rizzo was just 11 when he won our obstacle design challenge for drawing up the barrel roll. He got to meet many of his ninja heroes back then, and tonight he finally got his shot at the course.
That's the first time we've seen him like such a long runner.
In his rookie debut, Rizzo made it through the first 5 obstacles.
Okay, Rizzo.
And got to live out his childhood dream of hitting a buzzer.
First time out, I gotta give you a nickname, man. You are officially the Ninja Riz. You got Riz, man. You got Riz, baby.
Always exciting when this one comes to the start line. 48-year-old motivational speaker Sandy Zimmerman, the first and still only mother to hit a buzzer at American Ninja Warrior. She did that back in season 11 in Tacoma.
Wow.
Sandy's family will be watching from back home, and more friends and training partners on the sidelines.
Here we go. Sandy looking like she's got an extra bounce to her step.
Well, as a gym teacher, but now does motivational speaking. Just wrote her first book titled Get Out of the Car. She was talking about her first trip to a ninja competition. When she drove there, she just couldn't get out of the car. She was too nervous. She finally did. She ended up winning. And she said so many good things come on the other side of fear.
Let me tell you, she is fearless. She's still out here competing at 48, 3 decades older than a lot of these competitors. Last season, she went out on the second obstacle in qualifying, and look at her now, getting ready to take on number 3.
Well, 2 seasons ago, she went out on this obstacle log runner. It's a chance for revenge for Sandy Zimmerman. Go, 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 go! So Sandy Zimmerman does not get her revenge on log runner, and her season comes to an end.
Trouble started early. Her foot rolls over the second log. That caused her to come up short on the 3rd. That led to a hard fall.
And dancing up to the start line now is 15-year-old Bailey Beckstrand. She's the 5th member of her talented Utah family to compete on A&W. Ninja runs in the Beckstrand blood. Bailey's dad Brian kicked things off in season 7, hitting the family's first buzzer. Mom Holly made her debut 3 years later. Yes! Brother Kai first competed in season 13. Nice! Quickly becoming one of the sport's premier competitors.
Beckstrand!
And another brother, Luke, made a strong impression last year.
Get that buzzer!
I've been watching my family from the sidelines for about 10 years, and I finally get my chance. Okay, my turn.
Go, easy.
I'm the 5th section to take on the A&W course. My brother set a pretty high bar, so I feel a lot of pressure because I just know I wanted to be just as good as them.
Dad, who you got?
I don't know, I think it'll be close.
It's definitely very competitive in the Beckstrand household.
3, 2, 1, go.
Speed definitely runs in the family.
Yeah, there it is. Good job.
I'm super excited for Bailey. I think she's going to crush the course.
Like her brothers, Bailey's interests extend outside the gym.
I've been doing hip-hop dancing for about 5 years. Dancing is a lot of balance and movement and just keeping your body moving, so it really helps with everything in ninja. My dad and my brothers have all had buzzers, so it's finally a girl in the family's turn.
Her mom Holly is running a metal band, and they got to rock out at the start line. Then they walked out on the course. God about the drummer went first, and the 20-year-old from Sterling, Massachusetts had the rhythm going.
All right, watch out for this bang. This is a banger. Nice.
The 4-time ninja veteran made it to the end and got his 6th career buzzer.
I see you got
Then it was LaValle's turn, and the 18-year-old guitarist came to play.
He's going for time, Matt. He's going for the fastest time and for that mega wall.
The rookie absolutely shredded the course and finished with the fastest time so far, just over 54 seconds. Banner finished out at the mega wall. Though he missed, he'll still be one to watch in the semifinals. Well, now it's time for another young talent who can light up the course. This is Utah's Colton Schuster. He's a part-time light salesman and a proud member of Beta Theta Pi.
Anyone who knows me knows that I have a lot of energy, and joining Beta Theta Pi has amped it up even more. We're literally just all best friends. We do everything from like drilling together, oh my goodness, playing video games, studying. Oh my gosh, this is way harder than chemistry. We go golfing all the time. We even go on ski trips. Joining this fraternity, I've been able to look up to guys that are going through exactly what I'm going to go through. Look to them for advice. Hopefully, I can learn from guys that have been in my shoes. Me competing on American Ninja Warrior has brought the whole house together. Some of these guys didn't even know what Ninja Warrior was, and now they're diehard fans. These guys are going to be louder than a football stadium. I won't hear the end of it if I fall early, so I'm going to put on a show for them.
There's the boy! Let's go! The scrap brothers watching back in Utah got others here on the sideline. One of his parents, who mentioned he sells holiday lights door to door, and he brought us some to decorate the booth.
I like him. It tends the season, even though it's the summertime.
Schuster likes to have fun, but this guy's a serious competitor. Had a breakout season last year, made it to stage 2, and nearly beat Ninja great Daniel Gill in a head-to-head race. 6'2", 185.
Yeah, he looks stronger than he did last year. And he's shining bright like Christmas lights.
He's moving like he wants the fastest time.
Right through it. Oh my, he is flying.
Already to the 5th obstacle.
Yeah, he wants to impress his frat bros. Well, hold on, Scoots. Look at that pole. Well, he just did that in a good 7 seconds. That should put him in position to get the fastest time of the night. He's got to lock this one down. Colton Schuster. Here we go. 5 seconds. Colton Schuster. And he is fired up. Okay, yes, you are back, man. Let me tell you something. You lit this course up.
And the lights are red. The lights are partying, man. It's up.
Hey, listen, you got the lights, but we're going to see if you're going to unwrap the gift because you made it in under a minute. You got $10,000 on the line, Colton. And the fastest time of the night. Well, it is festive, Akbar. He's 6'2". We've had 4 ninjas trying to make a wall this season. No one's conquered it yet. Golden Scooster, 18.5 feet away. Come on, scoot. Put the star on top of the tree. Not even close. Oh, boy. That's all, man. That's all. It is. Hey, you still have the fastest time of the night. They wanted to give his frat boy son to cheer for, and he delivered. Scooter's going to be the big man on campus now. And he's going out with a fraternity fight song. Coming up, 3 years ago, she was on top of the world and won the winning championship. That's incredible. But a devastating injury shattered Katie Bone's world. Now, we'll see her courageous return to the course next on American Ninja Warrior. It's the final moments of our special How to Train Your Dragon edition of American Ninja Warrior. All night we've been counting down the best costumes in ninja history. And now it's time to reveal our number one. It's Jamie Ron's superhero. Ron created the look using body paint 13 years ago. I was Captain G4 when Ninja started on the cable network. Then he became Captain NBC and is dressed as a superhero every season, upgrading the look over the years with a red cape and blue bodysuit. He's got a huge following of ninja superhero superfans across the country, and Jamie's son carries on the green hair tradition. Jamie Ron's Captain NBC is number one, and we'll see Jamie later this season.
It's been a long road for this world-class fighter. After winning the championship, she has set a plan to the Olympics, but the injury led to 2 years of rehab.
Right before my injury, I was on my way to do field qualifiers. I was going to be at my first World Cup, and then in the fall, I lost all that. After my injury, I don't want to walk all of it.
Been through the fire, felt the burn, lost in the shadows, no way to turn.
Recovery has not been smooth, unfortunately. I do PT 3 to 6 times a day for months. Not as so hard to do doing more nursing pain. So why am I doing this still? I have only a couple months. One of the things everything gives me. You might want to just show up in there and do that with me. Knowing how feels means everything, and knowing how bad I want to get there, then helps motivations and how feels to not give me a walk. Just walk on stage. It means the world to me, but being able to get that, really one of the best ones ever.
We hold on though, yeah, we find our way.
So much love here for Katie Bone. Everything else on the to support her, and fans so happy to see her back. We're still 100% conceded points already, but slowly getting put into this. We're working on Katie's competition shape. We have such a process. We're committed to the process. We have it. So she can have this moment again. Now 3 years later, back on Ninja Warrior. And we're going to get the sensation first year. She won a winning championship her first year. It looks so strong. We're changing already, so she's a little cautious. Well, let's just work on here. On this bounce out, we'll see that he holds up. She definitely needs to stay here. I'm not your wife. She's like, I'm going to take 1 diabetes. You see, it's like on my arm. And that's what she promised every day. Well, it's been a loaded camera. We have 2 every week. She'll want to get this good. Easy watch out there and see that in season 8. We've been everything since then. You know, she's trying to do it. Well, I have to congratulations. One thing is about her. She's a world-class fighter, so she can have this. Just needs to watch out for the drops. Now 1 more wheel to go. Oh, we see this continual success of winning. You can see her. You can beat her. No, what a return this would be. And will be history. The third one being a buzzer tonight. But she's got to go on here. She's doing happy. We're getting a little buzzer. And she just gives a little smile. Like, oh, this is special. This is no one ever forget. You can just see this. We have to try to need one if it's impossible. Here we go. Let's go. Let's be straight to this. And look at the reaction. That says it all. You deserve it. You deserve it, K-Bone. I know you're slaying what you should be. Let's go up the process and be back at the buzzer again.
It's the hardest 2 years of my life. I love racing 2 seasons. There's no hard thing to happen. Be back here. Thrilled. Don't be behind me. Basically.
What Kate is letting me you are greater than your obstacles. So this moment, hit that buzzer one more time. I'm looking for Warrior. It's all about.
Trump has ordered the US Navy to shoot and kill boat slaying mines in the Strait of Hormuz. The US President says US mine are currently clearing the Strait of Iranian mines. On Wednesday, Iran claimed it captured 2 vessels traveling through the water. He says accusations in this war, despite the declaration that the ceasefire is now open-ended. These pictures, aired on Iranian state television, report to show armed soldiers boarding 2 container ships in the Strait of Hormuz. The Revolutionary Guard Naval Command says the boats will see because they endangered maritime security by operating without the necessary permits. According to reports, a third vessel was also fired on, but not captured by the Iranians. The Montenegrin government confirmed the number of crew members on board this ship, MSC Manchester, their nationals.
There are currently 4 Montenegrin sailors on board, and one of them is the captain of the ship. Although the Ministry of Maritime Affairs is in contact with the captain and seafarers own good health. The US also stated capturing oil tanker in Indian Ocean on Thursday, claiming that the vessel is associated with smuggling Iranian oil. The White House also stated it is committed to its blockade of Iranian ports, to bring the machines and negotiating table.
Operation Economic Theory continues, and the effective and successful blockade continues as well of ships and vessels that are moving to and from Iranian ports. We are completely strangling their economy through this blockade. We're losing $500 million a day.
Both Iran and the United States are now using this mighty shipping route to leverage. The Washington Post reported that Pentagon estimates that it could take as long as 6 months to clear the volumes of Iranian mines. Meaning even if the agreement could open the war soon, the economic consequences will continue for well into next year. Australia is in such a fellow with the Middle East and North Africa program at the Chatham House of Policy. He's also a professor at the University of Boston's Graduate School of Public and International Affairs. What is your assessment of where things stand now? Now that there's a sustained sort of ceasefire, and the United States and Iran appear not to have shifted their positions.
Well, we're in a moment now between war and negotiations. I think at this point, both sides would prefer not going back to war as they were for 6 or 7 weeks in February until early April. It was too costly on both sides. But at the same time, neither side is really ready to commit to serious negotiations. Both sides perceive that they have the advantage. Both sides perceive that they are not in a position to make serious concessions, and they're waiting for the other side to make the first move, which the other side is not ready to make. So right now, we're in a bit of a volatile in-between where there's no war, but also no serious negotiations. And for now, I think this stalemate is likely to continue probably for at least a few days, but it's a very delicate balance.
So what sort of thing, then, shifts the needle, breaks the deadlock? What sort of thing makes someone decide to reach out, whether it be publicly or through back channeling?
Well, I think it's going to be through back channeling. Apparently through Pakistan, perhaps other countries like Turkey and Egypt can play a role. I think both sides at this point publicly certainly do not want to be seen as the ones making the first move and therefore appear vulnerable, appear weak. Both sides really want to project a message of strength to their own populations, but also to the other side and to the region as a whole. So what could break this stalemate? At this point, I think this stalemate is fairly firm in the sense that both sides perceive that they do not have to make that first move. On the Iranian side, there is a consideration that this is a war for their survival, and therefore they need to be patient, they need to be intransigent. On the other side, President Trump perceives that the US as the great power, Iran as the lesser power, is the one that has to make that first step. So who will make those first steps? I think in back channel negotiations, we will see both sides gradually chipping away at that, but it could take a number of weeks and perhaps months before we get to some agreement.
You say no one wants to appear weak, but what we had last week was a US president shouting about the power of his army, a US president threatening Iran with destruction of its civilization, destruction of its infrastructure, if a deal was done. No deal was done, and then this strong president said, okay, well, we'll continue with this ceasefire. That does not sound like the actions of a strong power.
I would agree, absolutely. From your perspective and from my perspective, this war has not been a success for the U.S. and specifically for President Trump. But President Trump, as we have clearly seen in the year and something that he's been back in power, as well as in his first term, will systematically build a narrative that suits his own view, irrespective of how connected that narrative is to reality. That when President Trump talks about major U.S. victories, talks about regime change in Iran, talks about a massively weakened Islamic Republic, that is disconnected from reality. But that is the narrative that he wants to build, mostly for domestic consumption inside the United States. That is his main audience. He, I think, is keenly aware that this war is increasingly politically costly for the Republicans. There are midterm elections coming in only 7 months. November in the U.S. The Republicans are, as things currently stand, looking to suffer serious losses. And I think, given the pressure that comes from the Republican Party from within his MAGA coalition, there is a reluctance on his side to go back to war. It doesn't mean that he won't go back to war, but there is serious pressure on that side.
This apparent disconnect between reality and the president's utterings is interesting. The President Trump, in a media post today, claimed there is a leadership rift between moderates and hardliners in Iran. How much truth do you believe there is in that?
There is truth in the narrowest of narrow senses, in the sense that the Islamic Republic has always been an extremely competitive political system, not a democratic political system, but a very competitive one in which factions, hardliners, ultra conservatives, moderates would always fight it out for policy outcomes. What we have always seen in Iran, and that is what we are seeing now. Of course, the circumstances are exceptional. A number of leaders have been assassinated. There is a war. There is clearly a very deep penetration of Israeli and American intelligence, which can only feed the paranoia inside the regime. So I think it's a very safe assumption that right now infighting within the regime is quite intense. That is true. But is there a deep fracture in the sense that Trump and some of his lieutenants or allies are saying? No, in the sense that the regime is not, and there's no indication that it is on the verge of any kind of collapse. So a grain of truth, as is often the case with President Trump, but significant exaggeration around that.
Good talking to you. That's very clear. Thank you so much, Thomas Junot from Chatham House.
Thank you.
Apologies for some of the poor technical quality on that line. Now, the European Union has approved a long-delayed loan of 90 billion euros for Ukraine. It comes as leaders gather for an informal summit in Cyprus. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is there. The loan was held up for months by political deadlock caused by Hungary and Slovakia. Former Prime Minister Viktor Orban blocked agreement after a Russian oil pipeline that supplied Hungary with Russian oil through Ukraine was damaged. Kyiv blamed Moscow's drone attacks for the damage. Oil deliveries have now resumed and Hungary's dropped its opposition. EU leaders are celebrating the long-awaited deal, which also includes a new raft of sanctions targeting Russian oil tankers.
The more Russia is doubling down on its war of aggression, the more Europe is doubling down on supporting Ukraine. That is important for us. Because we are very clear about standing by your side and by the side of the Ukrainian people. Today is a good day.
Our correspondent, Lucia Schulten, is at the summit in Cyprus. Welcome, Lucia. Is the EU speaking with one voice on Ukraine now that Viktor Orban is almost out the door?
Well, today there is really a sigh of relief. Everyone here coming in, the European leaders are very happy that they could finally approve this 90 billion euro loan for Ukraine. And for now, it seems they're speaking with one voice. But be assured, there's a next test coming up, so to say. Ukraine also wants to become a member of this club, right? And for that, you also will need unanimity every time a major decision is being taken. There are a lot of steps ahead for Ukraine to become a member of the European Union, but you always need unanimity. And there we already know that, for example, Peter Magyar, who's going to be the next Hungarian Prime Minister once he is officially in the office, he already said that he does not believe that there should be a fast track for Ukraine and that he also cannot imagine that Ukraine would become a member while it is still in war. So there are some member states which seem to be a bit more lenient, but there are also other member states which have said today that it is clear that Ukraine, like every other member, like every other candidate country, will have to fulfill all conditions, and it is a long process. So tonight, yes, there is a big agreement on Ukraine and for the support for Ukraine, but this might be tested in the future.
Okay, that's tomorrow's problem. Today's celebration is about this 90 billion euro loan for Ukraine. That's a lot of money. Where's it coming from, and what's it going to be used for?
So this money will come from the financial markets, and the European Union is going to take this money and is going to back it up with their very own household. There's an exception to this backing up to the security. 3 countries said they do not want this. They do not want to stand in case that this loan is not being paid back. These were Slovakia, Czechia, the Czech Republic, and also Hungary. Once this money will need to be paid back, it is planned that this will be paid back by reparations that Russia will have to pay for Ukraine. And then there's also this possibility, but this is not really decided yet how this might look like. But they said this is still a possibility that this might also be taken from frozen Russian funds. The money will be spent, and we heard of Volodymyr Zelensky coming here today. He was talking a lot about reconstructing the energy infrastructure. He was talking about the very hard winter that Ukraine just had, and that they need to rebuild the energy infrastructure. And we heard from Ursula von der Leyen that there is an agreement that 1/3 of this money will go into the general budget of Ukraine, into the household, so to say, and 2/3 will go into defense. So this is the general big plan.
Right.
We have heard from Volodymyr Zelensky how happy he is and what a great day this is that Ukraine finally gets this money, which has already been agreed on. They've been waiting for in December, and they've been
I'm
waiting
sure
for
he's
this,
very happy, but 90 billion euros, that's a lot of money. To be clear, if Russia doesn't pay reparations, and if the EU is unable to use these frozen Russian funds, which Belgium is currently blocking, my understanding is that this 90 billion euro loan actually becomes a gift. You just write it off. Is that right?
Well, if you say so, I mean, nobody would say this right now that this would be a gift to Ukraine because they're assuming that there will be reparations and they still have this card of the frozen funds. But in theory, they are backing this up with their household. So if nobody else is going to pay it back or Ukraine can't pay it back, the European Union or 24 member states of the European Union have said that they would cover it.
Thank you, Lucia. Lucia Schulten in Cyprus at that meeting of EU leaders. You're watching DW News live from Berlin. Reminder of our top story at this hour. US President Donald Trump says he's ordered the US Navy to shoot and kill any boat laying mines in the Strait of Hormuz. His latest remarks come as Iran says it's captured 2 vessels that were travelling through the strait. And as you've just been hearing, the EU has approved a long-delayed loan of 90 billion euros for Ukraine. This comes as leaders gather for an informal summit in Cyprus. The loan was held up for months by political deadlock caused by Hungary. And that's your up-to-date. More with Brent at the top of the hour. Have a good day.
Renewable energy groups warn a proposal to change capital gains tax laws may end up pushing power prices higher. And Microsoft places a $25 billion bet on Australian AI. Everything is lining up for Microsoft for a long-term structural advantage for them. Welcome to The Business. I'm Dave Chow. Clean energy groups are sounding the alarm on proposed new laws to apply capital gains tax on assets on land owned by foreign investors. They say these changes could make power prices more expensive for consumers and might get in the way of Australia meeting its renewable energy targets. Alison Branley reports.
In regional Victoria sits Golden Plains Wind Farm, the biggest in the Southern Hemisphere. It supplies about 9% of the state's energy. The $4 billion project was funded entirely by foreign investors.
International investment has been the backbone of our energy transition.
But now investors are warning the potential of more projects like this are at risk because of proposed new laws to close a long-standing loophole for foreign investors. Previously, the 30% capital gains tax only applied to land sales. Now it's being extended to assets on that land.
So this could be a piece of property. It could be a building on that property that appreciates in value because of investment. It could be a truck or a piece of mining equipment. Or in the case of the renewable energy industry, this could be solar panels.
With large-scale commercial clean energy now making up nearly 30% of the grid, the renewable industry claims the tax could push up power bills by up to $100 a year.
We are increasing the cost of capital. Those costs will be passed down to households. In a cost of living crisis, this is entirely the wrong move.
Experts say the loophole needed closing, and there are alternatives to help drive clean energy projects.
Companies were exploiting these gaps in state and federal laws. I think a better method would just be to give clear subsidies for renewable energy.
The changes were hastened by 2 federal court cases which found foreign companies in those cases were exempt from the tax. It left Treasury worried it opened the door for others to come back and claim multi-million-dollar tax refunds. So they've made the changes retrospective. But critics say this makes Australia a risky investment proposition.
If Australia gets the reputation as a country that goes back 20 years in the past and grabs money from you that you weren't expecting, that is going to increase the kind of risk premium that we have to pay to get investment in Australia.
The tax office says it usually only goes back 4 years. It doesn't plan to reopen old cases except in rare instances, but experts are still concerned.
And so the retrospective element of this means that the Commissioner can realistically go back as far as the provisions go, so to 2006. We've heard from other jurisdictions, Denmark and Canada, for example, have expressed concerns about these rules. It's not unforeseeable that the US might respond to this potentially in a targeted way.
If investment does go elsewhere, that could make hitting renewable goals harder.
This proposal will make it almost impossible for Australia to meet its renewable energy target of 82% by the end of this decade.
The Clean Energy Council is very concerned that these moves will have a chilling effect on investment.
A spokesperson for the Treasurer, Jim Chalmers, says there's a 4-year transition period where renewables will get a 50% discount, and the government has other support for clean energy. These arrangements strike the right balance between supporting investment in clean energy while ensuring foreign investors pay their fair share of tax. But the industry says the interim measures are inadequate.
Unless the government wants a fire sale in the next couple of years, then why have such a short transition period?
Consultation on the new laws close on April 24.
Microsoft is making a $25 billion investment in data centers, national cyber defense, and workforce training in Australia over the next 3 years. The company's CEO flew into Sydney to make this announcement in person. He's also signed up Microsoft to the federal government's AI framework on data centers and AI developers. And Satya Nadella says his company will train 3 million Australians on how to use artificial intelligence.
There's going to be a real change in the way we work, the tools we use to work, and so to be able to get ahead of all of the jobs and the economic opportunity that gets created, I think it's going to be very, very important for all of us, including Microsoft, to do the work to bring the skilling and the upskilling that is required.
Meanwhile, it was a slightly gloomy day for the ASX, with energy being one of the few bright spots. This was the 3rd day in a row that the market had fallen, with no real progress in diplomacy between the US and Iran. The ASX 200 and the All Ords fell by 0.6% each, and the Australian dollar is down slightly to 71.5 US cents. For a deeper dive into financial markets, let's bring in Jamie Hanna, the Deputy Head of Investments at Bank Australia. Hi there, Jamie. Let's start with the news from Microsoft, which placed a $25 billion investment in building Australian data centers and AI infrastructure. So that's a lot of money for a payoff that's not necessarily guaranteed. So what do you think Microsoft stands to gain in Australia, of all places?
Well, I think it's great news for Australia, first of all. But for Microsoft, it's about competition. They are really planning for the long term here. We've already seen announcements from their competitors, Amazon, announcing big expenditure in Australia as well. So they don't want to see long-term control to such an important market to them like Australia. And if you actually think about Australia, we are like a serious contender in terms of infrastructure for data centers. And it really plays into increasing our footprint for the country. And from a government perspective, they're completely on board from what I've seen, because they want to be a regional data center hub. And if you think about Australia, we are a stable political environment. We have a lot of land. And these data center companies really need to generate a lot of their energy themselves through renewable sources. And we have great potential in that space. So everything is lining up for Microsoft for a long-term structural advantage for them.
And Wall Street is back at record highs. And basically investors there are treating the Iran war as if it's history, even though it's still going on. So what's going on there?
Look, it was only the end of Feb when the Australian market hit an all-time high. So a lot's happened in the last 6 weeks since the Iranian war. But Australia hasn't bounced back as far. And it's down to the structure of our market. If we think about how Australia is structured, the big banks and the big resource companies really make up a big percentage of our market. And if we look at where the US has bounced back, it's been in the technology company space. And Australia is very underweight large technology companies. So we haven't really seen that jump that they've seen in the US. That said, we're also in a different economic environment. Australia already had high inflation before the Iranian war, before energy prices started ticking up. And now that's extra pressure on inflation. So the market is pricing in 2 interest rate rises by the end of the year. And that's not good for the economy. It's a bit of a drag. And if you look at the US, they've got some great earnings results coming out from their companies. And second of all, they haven't got such high inflation in the market. It's not pricing any interest rate rises. So taking all that into account, Australia just hasn't bounced back as far as the US and is not sitting at an all-time high at the moment.
So with some stock market at record highs, especially in America, do you think investors are being complacent to the risk of the war flaring up again? And if so, does that mean we can expect some days where there might be big sell-offs again?
I think the volatility that we've been seeing in the market could continue. The Iranian war has put pressure on supply chains in Australia, has put pressure on energy prices globally. So if this isn't rectified in terms of opening up the Straits of Hormuz, a return to normal, what we've seen over the previous years, then yes, this risk can continue to play out. And I would say that there could be downward pressure on the market. I mean, if companies are having to pay more for their goods or if having to spend more on their energy costs, then that's going to get passed on to the end consumer, to the buyer. And what we'll see is that can put downward pressure on the company's share price. So yes, it's great that we're bounced back from this, but until this war is rectified and a long-term peace deal is agreed, then volatility could absolutely persist in the market.
So when does this war need to end and all this damaged energy infrastructure in the Gulf need to be repaired for these share market rebounds and valuations to be justified?
It needs to be wound up ASAP, as soon as possible. Otherwise, the longer it drags on, the more damage it's doing. We only have to look at the price of fuel at the pump here in Australia. That flows through into everything. It flows through into all parts of the economy. So from our point of view, the sooner, the better.
And just finally, the hearing implant maker Cochlear, its share price fell by another 7% at one stage today, and that's on top of yesterday's 40% plunge. Surely all the bad news about its weaker profit outlook has already been priced in, right?
You would think it'd be priced in yesterday after its large fall, but a lot of the research agencies and the brokers who actually research the company have been digesting the full data. And a number of them downgraded the company today, which put further pressure on the share price. But also, if you look at some of the European hearing companies as well, in a similar space to Cochlear, they were down last night as well. So there's just added pressure to the whole market. Is there, a need for hearing implants and a growing need for it. And the market's questioning their assumptions at the moment. It's not to say that Cochlear is a bad company. You know, they have an amazing technology set up. They're really helping people globally. But from a financial perspective, can they continue to grow sales?
Jamie, thank you very much for your insights.
Thanks very much.
The price of Brent crude oil has surged back above $100 a barrel. And that's after Iran seized 2 ships in the Strait of Hormuz, despite its ceasefire with the US. Australia's fuel giants, Ampol and Viva Energy, are doing well in this environment, with both reporting their refining margins have tripled since last year. Viva Energy's boss, Scott Wyatt, spoke to Alan Kohler on the That's Business podcast and justified the sky-high margins.
When you look at how much money the refineries are making at the moment, you need to look at it in the context of a multi-year program of operation that has had some very difficult times and right now is obviously enjoying, from a refining sense, some good times, but it's a relatively small period of time in reality.
Now let's bring in Morningstar's senior equity analyst Mark Taylor for his take. Hi there, Mark. What do you make of Scott Wyatt's defence of these very high margins?
I think absolutely justified. Australian refiners are essentially dictated by the regional refiner margin, so it's not something they're directly inflicting on consumers in Australia. It's set by international benchmarks, and he's quite correct that refining has had some very lean years, periods where they've been unprofitable, and as commercial entities they need to make a return on invested capital, and a refining operation is a capital-intensive business, so they're putting a lot of money in a lot of the time. So a small window of high pricing, I think, thank heaven for small mercies, really.
At the same time, the Australian government is currently taking on the financial risk of oil prices falling to ensure